really happened on the 18th of May, 1952? Come with me and let's find out. Menchie, ready to find your truth? Let's go! That's when Professor Willard Libby dated Stonehenge back to 1848 BC, allowing him to win an argument that cost a man his life. Professor Libby was in love with a Canadian girl called Perry Glacial, who worked at the nearby jelly manufacturing company. But he was a bit shy, so he asked his best friend, my great-grandfather, Elman Delaney, to smooth things for him a bit. Willoughby was a sound enough man, but hardly exciting. Still, Delaney said he'd do his best. Delaney knew Perry loved lentils, so he advised Libby to invite her to the Robin Hood's ball, which they had every year outside Stonehenge. They always served plenty of lentils there, so she'd be happy. But Libby wasn't really one for small talk. They'd barely had 2 big portions of lentils each when Libby started telling her about his idea for dating things based on the gases they emitted. And Perry thought he was having a crack at her because of all the lentils. So she stormed off. Well, Delaney had been watching, so he gave Libby a punch on the arm and told him to get after her. Luckily, because she was in a real mood, throwing trees at the big stones of Stonehenge. And so annoyed, she didn't even notice they weren't on the ground. They were hanging in the air. And when Libby looked up into the sky and saw a purple light, he knew the lads from planet Tritium were back again. When the Tritionium saw Libby, they told him they were back for the henge, and this time they meant to take it. Libby had been arguing with them about it for years. They claimed the henge was far too ancient to have been made by humans. But Libby said it wasn't. But now with this brand new idea, he'd be able to prove them wrong for once. And impress Perry. So he started measuring the gases coming out of the stones. And the results were better than he could have ever expected. For after he'd carried the 1 and dotted the T's and done all that, the results were clear. Stonehenge had been built in 1848 BC. In other words, it was only 104 years old at that stage. And came from BC. British Columbia. Well, the Canadian Perry liked the sound of that a lot, and she gave Libby a load of Canadian kisses. Meanwhile, Delaney was busy in the background, mixing up a big bag of crustacean chalk and powdered nickel and renting a plane. And the aliens were so busy ogling Perry and Libby that they never noticed Delaney parachute out of the plane to land on top of their spaceship. And he poured the big bag of stuff down the chimney and into the spaceship's engine. But he couldn't hop off again because his parachute got stuck in an aubrey hole. And when the spaceship exploded, Delaney exploded with it. The force of the explosion was so great that all his meat was blown off his bones, and all his bones were turned into bluestones, one of which Libby used for the wedding ring when he married Perry. So I suppose that's kind of a happy ending, isn't it? But sure, that's nothing compared to what happened to my other great-grandfather. Make sure you follow or subscribe or whatever they call it these days so you don't miss that story. Ready, Menchie? Let's go!